I came to Macalester from another country. I was not American. So much of what was happening around me was so new and in many ways very shocking to me that, number one, people who were fighting over skin color. I thought, this is strange. What is wrong with these people? But then the war is killing people, and I had come to America with a different sense of hope and optimism, and I find violence around me and people disagreeing, churches opposing students who are protesting, and the Presbyterian Church is doing something, and the Catholics are doing something. And I felt this pressure. But I think our class stood up for something. I think we started something really, really big. I know we did as women in the dorms. I know the men did in our protest. And I know, having been in touch with my brother who graduated 2 years after, is that college changed a lot. The pressures, the monies and the funding for the school came from Reader's Digest, and I think the pressures got to campus. And I think that there was more administrative pressure on student behavior and a little bit more control. But I'm proud of our class. I think we broke ground. I think we vocalized what had never happened here before. And it was the peak of it. I think we faced Martin Luther King being killed. We saw Bobby Kennedy being killed. And with Eugene McCarthy running and opposing the war, and the vivid pictures of Vietnam, it was all happening in 3 months. So this was a lot, and we made it okay for people to protest. I think we began something here that I'm proud to have left behind, that we stood up for our principles, and we fought hard. It wasn't easy, it was hard.
And we've kept going. A year ago, January, I went to the Women's March in Washington.
Yes, and we haven't stopped.
Me too.
And we haven't talked about women's issues, like dorm hours that women had amended, grace minutes,
all that.
We need to talk about that.
Thank goodness those things
That's
changed.
what I'm saying. We broke ground in many places.
Things changed a lot in the 4 years we were here, don't you think, from our
Yes,
freshman
they
year?
did.
For me, I mean, coming in here, I was looking at our Macalester yearbook, and under my name, it said that when I came here, I was a member of the Young Republican Club. I thought, how is that possible? And I think, well, because that's what I grew up with. My parents were
same thing for
very
me.
staunch
Yeah.
Republicans,
I
and
was-
I think
yeah.
they were nice people,
Yeah.
and whatever, I'm going to be that. Oh, and 4 years later, I was like a different person. I mean, I changed so much, politically, socially, I mean, and of course academically. I mean, there's no... But, I mean, I was stunned to just read that last week. I was in the Young Republican Club.
And I was until I got to be really good friends with Marlene Johnson. And my dad would say, Judy became a Democrat, but it's because of Marlene, and I really love Marlene, so I guess it's okay.
My dad said she became a Democrat when she went to Macalester. How did this happen? And then my brother went too, and they gave up.
I'm an interesting case study because my brother was here and he was for Goldwater, and I was going to meetings about forming SDS. But I also want to say that I changed, and this is sort of feeding off of what Shenaz said. I also changed at Macalester because of the international student body population and the World Press Institute with many international journalists. And I took full advantage of getting to know them, and I would take Yugoslavians home to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Palestinians, and so on. And then I eventually ended up going into work in the Middle East as an Arabist. But I owe that in part to the international orientation of Macalester at the time, and the student programs in our junior year, SWAP and SPAN, which sent us abroad, in my case to the Middle East to do research, and people went to all over the world. So that was a very important change for me as well. And I think most of us just felt sort of more sort of in our skin about the kinds of protests we were willing to do, and the kind of analysis which we were equipped to do by a parade of very distinguished speakers that were continually brought in, who talked about everything from economic opportunity and housing to race relations to where is the European Union going. And I have full documentation of all that because I wrote this all down in my diary.
That's impressive.
So we learned to analyze too while we were in the active arena.
I didn't give you my name. My name is Shenaz, and you didn't give your name either.
I'm Charlie, Underwood.
Back to the question of getting support, the faculty were extremely supportive, and we had dialogues, we had gatherings. This is a time that's remarkable, is that we were actually in parties and dinners with our faculty, with our professors in a national center, and we had amazing support. We had incredible engagement from them, from all of them. There were hardly any criticism. So in a way, the whole community, the whole campus community was engaged with us. And the international programs were very significant. I mean, during the '67 war in Israel, we were sitting around with Egyptians and Israelis and Iranians and all of the people. We were exposed at very early ages to international events at a level that most people today, I don't believe, are getting. We were very aware, we were very presently engaged and involved, and we were given every opportunity to be free to explore and to discuss and to participate. It was real, and we lived it, and we acted. So it was amazing that this school provided that safe environment for us.
My recollection is that we had less than 2,000 students in the whole school at that point, and that there were more than 100 students from sub-Saharan Africa here as students. You know, like, whoa, okay. A lot of intellectual stuff too. I remember there was a free ride being given to everybody the National Merit Scholars that did well on the PSAT test, you know, and, you know, wow, you know, you can't have too much stagnation with that much intelligence floating around the dorms. You know, you just can't.